Then let me ask you, do you think Supreme Court Justice Sotomayor falsely claiming 100,000 children are in serious condition from COVID was her being dumb or evil?
She didn't just say that. Let me add some things to here too. She also claimed that COVID deaths are at an all-time high. They have been going down since September, according to the official data. Look it up yourself. She also said that Omicron is deadlier than Delta. Obviously, no scientific findings presenting that as well. So I think I don't know.
Dumb or evil?
Dumb. A combination of both.
Well, not
because if you put yourself in a position of power and you're dumb and you're ruling over people's existences, you should learn to shut the hell up, right? So if you're dumb and you know you're dumb and you're still dictating how people should live, you're dumb and evil. You're a combination of both. I
don't see dumb here. I see ignorant, and I think there's a distinction to be made there. I think that she could, because like you read the actual quotes that she said, and I'm just like, this sounds like an aunt of mine that just overdoses on blue pills and just watches, corporate press. I mean, she sounds like a woman that is genuinely uninformed and ignorant about what she's talking about. Otherwise, she wouldn't say that stuff. Because to malevolently say this, that doesn't really add up for me.
Not as a Supreme Court justice. Yeah,
No.
you'd be strung up for doing that.
Yeah.
Trying to mislead the American public. It sounds like what Whoopi Goldberg was saying too, that any new variant of a virus is more powerful. Which is blatantly not true because you can have a variant of a virus that's less powerful than before.
She said deadlier.
I missed that quote.
More powerful. She said more powerful. And it was like, Whoopi, you're a passionate person that believes the things you say. So make sure you know what you're saying is right before you.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about Sonya.
No, but
you
it
meant
was similar.
Whoopi. I apologize. I made a mistake.
Maybe she's going off of the Dragon Ball Z principle, where Goku was very powerful, and then Gohan was stronger than Goku, at least in the Cell Saga.
Likely.
That explains everything.
I understand your train of thought, Whoop.
How many people
she just
understood
got
what I
COVID.
just said?
She was triple vaxxed. Whoopi was triple vaxxed and got COVID. So she's like, what is going on? But then she kind of slipped back into this brainwashing. Variants are always more powerful, and the only way to stop it is that.
Well, she said, I did everything I was told to do. Why am I sick? And that's a lot of questions that a lot of people are having, especially in some of the most vaccinated places all around the world. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of serious questions to ask there because there's a lot of consequences that we can't even get into, but people will make up their own minds. Not a medical doctor, not here trying to give you any kind of medical advice, but there's a lot of questions that are not being answered by the medical professionals that should absolutely concern the average citizen.
Let's bring it back to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
They're listening to oral arguments on the vaccine mandate, and either these liberal justices have no idea what's going on, or they're deliberately misleading the American people.
I'm going to call ignorance, and that's why I brought up Whoopi, because she seemed very ignorant, like definitely not malicious what she was saying. She didn't know what she was saying.
This is the person deciding if we're going to have a vaccine mandate. This is the person controlling your life and existence in the next few coming weeks and months who's going to decide.
Years, bro.
Exactly. So this is the person that's going to decide if you get to live your life freely or if the government's going to come in a way and force a medication on you.
So do you think that it's evil just because they're making a decision with
because
limited
she's
information?
in a position of power? And I think, obviously with all the news reports coming out right now, I think she's going to understand that she was definitely wrong here.
I don't know, man. These people are evil.
That's the conclusion here. But if it truly is just ignorance, just someone being a dumbass, I think they're going to realize sooner or later that hey, someone near her is going to say you were wrong about everything.
Clarence Thomas asked, "Is the vaccine the only treatment for COVID?" And that a lot of people were just like, "That's a question." Wow,
that's a very important question.
Because when it comes to vaccine mandates, the argument is OSHA should have the ability to do this, and then a very simple question, not for or against, just a clarifying question: is there anything else we can do?
Oh, that's why I was trending on Twitter.
And just a simple question: is there anything else we can do? I'm not saying yes or no to the mandate. Clarence Thomas, that's a really, really powerful question, and this question actually leads you to another line of questioning. I can't remember who mentioned this, but they said, what about all the other diseases? Why is it just COVID? I can't remember who brought it up, but they were like, what about the flu?
Yes.
And they said, oh, but the flu, no, there's no answer. So I tweeted, we should mandate everyone be forced to get every vaccination that's available in the United States. I believe the CDC lists 58. Why not? If one, why not all? Clearly something doesn't make sense when they're trying to mandate one and not all. Because people do die from these other illnesses.
You can't have it both ways. Yeah.
So in the hospital, they would require people to get the flu vaccine, or you would have to wear a mask for the entire flu season. Some nurses would refuse to get the flu vaccine. Sometimes the flu vaccine was not very effective because it would go based off of Australia's virus and try to find a way to counter the American virus as well. Didn't always work very well. I'm guessing that we're going to end up seeing the same effect with COVID, but I'm curious if they're going to make it for everyone or if they're just going to make it for medical
Luke, what you were saying that there's like they're saying now that Omicron may be like the final variant or something.
Well, there's a lot of medical professionals, whether it's in many European countries. There's also a lot of medical professionals coming from South Africa right now saying that Omicron will be the final variant, the end of this pandemic. This is something that I was talking about the possibility of a few weeks ago, and there is some early preliminary data suggesting that because this virus is so transmissive and because it's so less lethal than the previous one for many of the category groups here, that it will run through the population in a span of 1 month to 3 months and therefore give everyone natural immunity and therefore end the pandemic from here. And there's a very small chance, it's extremely unlikely that there's going to be a new variant that's going to be more lethal because of how this variant has already taken over all the other variants. That's some of the early data, early information. I was talking about it for a while now. Look what's happening right now in South Africa. It gives us a lot of reason to be hopeful.
Regarding your question from earlier too, Tim, about why don't we vaccinate for all the vaccines at once? There's this thing called compounding effects, compounding activities with any kind of medication. So you can test. You have 5 different medications. You test one of them on someone. You test the second one on someone. You test third. But you don't know what they're going to do when they're put in at the same time. So that's a completely unique test you need to do. And for every new drug that's added to the mix, that's another completely new test. And you got to see how that interacts with people.
Well, if Bioshock taught us anything, it's that people will become splicers and they'll slowly go crazier and develop superpowers.
There's also this report.
Do you guys know Bioshock? Come on.
Yeah.
You won't become a splicer.
I'm part of the way there.
I'm kidding. It's a joke. It's a video game reference. Calm down, YouTube.
There's also some reported accounts saying that there was a conversation between Justice Kagan that asked what risk do the unvaccinated workers pose to others. And, I haven't verified this myself, but according to some of the early statements we're seeing here, OSHA's own data shows that it's unclear to exactly what extent that question could be even answered, if this procedure even reduces transmission. This is not me saying it. This is some of the transcripts happening from the Supreme Court.
Look at this. Yahoo News. Justice Sotomayor claims not to understand the distinction between state and federal powers. This is insane.
Let's talk about recall powers for a minute.
Wow, dude.
I need the context of this.
Supreme Court Justice Sonya Sotomayor professed not to be able to understand the distinction between federal authority and state police powers during oral arguments in a consolidated case before the court on Friday morning.
Oh my God.
Critics, including plaintiffs, submit that the rule represents federal and bureaucratic overreach. Quote, I'm not sure I understand the distinction, why the states would have the power to institute a mandate such as OSHA's, but the federal government wouldn't, stated the Associate Justice. If we have to give a lesson on the 9th and 10th Amendment to our own Supreme Court justices, when I say the system is collapsing, y'all can't tell me I'm wrong.
You can't have them in power for 40 years. What is going on?
Dude, it's idiocracy. It's idiocracy. It's idiocracy. It's like you've got a politician, the Secretary of Agriculture, and they're like, why would you put water on plants? Yeah. It's like, dude, if you're in charge of it, look at Pete Buttigieg. It is idiocracy. He's a small town mayor. They put him in charge of transportation, and then he goes missing for several weeks. It is. I'm sorry. Mike Judge's timeline of 500 years or whatever was wrong. It was like 10 years. 10 years, and we found ourselves here. Come on. Donald Trump is in the WWE Hall of Fame. He was president. Mike, you're a prophet, but you got your timeline way too far out. It was way sooner. Here we are.
I heard he's doing another Beavis and Butthead.
Yes, I heard.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that.
I'm excited about that.
Totally.
But Idiocracy is becoming more of a documentary by the day, especially with leaders like Kamala Harris, especially with just the absurdity that we're seeing on the corporate media. And I think there's a deliberate effort to dumb down the average human being. And
let's be real about something. Okay, you guys have all seen Idiocracy, I imagine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Camacho was not a bad dude.
No.
He recognized that Luke Wilson's character was the smartest guy. He brings him in, and by hiring the right guy, solved the problem by getting the Brondo off the crops.
They actually could have called the movie Meritocracy.
Well, they first put him in jail for being too smart.
No. Camacho didn't. Yeah. Camacho, the president, actually got him out and was like, let's do this. And so I got to say, he may have been a WWE Hall of Famer as the president. He may not have been the smartest guy, but he made some good moves that ultimately benefited his country. And Donald Trump, May not have been the greatest
Same
guy.
idea.
He may have been a WWE Hall of Famer. He may not have been the smartest guy, but he did some policies that were really helping out. Look at that. Idiocracy come true.
I'm afraid that there's forces that are attempting to shatter our government, and I don't know. Do you think term limits getting like these people out of here, Supreme Court
On your
justices and
headphones.
congressmen is going to help?
No, this whole entire system is absolutely crooked. It's absolutely rotten to its core, and it only profits off of people's ignorance. And this is why I think there's the deliberate effort to dumb people down and to normalize this kind of idiocracy that we have been seeing instituted almost every step of the way with mainline establishment culture, mainline establishment politics, mainline establishment society. It all incentivizes you being a dumb cod of the machine going along with, of course, the bull crap that it spews.
Was there a period in American history where you liked the American government, where you thought it was functioning?
You're asking me if I like government, all right? That's a question that I think is very self-evident. I don't like any kind of government or authority or centralization or top-down control of people's free existences, and that to me is just again my perspective, my personality. Because if you look at the U.S. government, especially from its onset, there's a lot to criticize there, especially with its imperialistic kind of endeavors, especially with its foreign policy. There's a lot of things that, of course, you could criticize, but there's also a lot of things that you could compliment with, especially the United States, at least representing the ideas of free speech, of being able to defend yourself. And even though it's not perfect, I think it's one of the freest, best places in the world right now, standing up against this global tyranny. And I think that's why there has been such a concerted effort trying to bring it down, destroy it from the inside, because it still represents this bastion of freedom that is standing in the way from total totalitarianism and technocratic overlords controlling every existence, every part of our existence that we have.
But don't you want to be in the
pod?
Yeah. You're
No.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is that literally everything they're presenting to us is the Matrix. Like in the pod, eating bugs. You'll be hooked into a pod, plugged into the metaverse. They're literally describing the Matrix.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like, join the Matrix. You'll like it.
The New York Post ran an article highlighting how some cows were given virtual reality so they could at least feel like they're outside. My tagline was like, this is going to be your future. You're the cow.
Yeah.
This is what they're doing. This is literally what they're doing. They're creating a digital heroin, which they're calling the metaverse, that they're going to have you licked in through your Elon Musk microchip. And there's going to be no understanding of what is real and what is not when they control every aspect of your consciousness.
They call it play to
You're going to be
earn.
literally uploading your consciousness to Mark Zuckerberg's private playland. And when you're in that metaverse, the ability for them to subjugate you is absolutely astounding, and I think that's why they're going forward with this kind of larger metaverse plan, this larger virtual reality. And when they develop artificial intelligence, especially with the advancements that they had with quantum computing, game's over for humanity.
Are you guys going to plug into the metaverse?
100%. Yeah, I'm already in.
Yeah?
I'm on something called Decentraland. It's pretty addictive. It's crazy.
It's a virtual reality?
Yeah, it's basically like a giant chat room that you walk around in and can interact with like
Are you using
kiosks. No, I was just on the mouse and keyboard.
Because we like the Oculus is super cheap, and so we've got it. And that Space Pirate game is so much fun.
It's amazing.
It's how they get you though, man. Like you get this like laser sword and a shield, and you're like swatting robots, and then you can switch to the gun and you're pew pew shooting lasers at the robots. It's a fun game. And they've also got in the Oculus this virtual chat world, where I don't remember what it's called, but you can pick your avatar. You can be any kind of weird. You can be a carrot. I bring it up because I saw a guy walking around. He was a carrot. I'm like, this guy really wanted to be that. My guy was like a generic looking guy, I guess. I don't know. But you walk around, and I guess I don't know if this is the way it's set up, but my understanding is that as you talk, when you walk closer to people, you get louder in their headset, and when you walk away, is that how it works? Something like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Although I didn't, I had the sound off when I was in Decentraland.
What mystical made-up creature are you in the metaverse?
I made
Are
basically
you-
a hippie.
Yeah.
Also, they have cryptos that they tie to these websites. So Decentraland has one called Mana, and basically they're prepping for a future where you use a cryptocurrency as the in-game currency, and it's going to be you play to earn, and they're going to have 6-year-olds and 8-year-olds in there for 10 hours, 12 hours a day, like basically new age slave labor, and we're going to have to build laws to protect kids against.
Dude,
Mana?
Mark Zuckerberg is going to be your
Mana.
boss. Like he's going to be your president.
He's gonna
Overlord.
want to be,
Yeah, overlord.
Supreme overlord of your consciousness.
Check it out. Look where we already are. People are building businesses in the digital landscape. I knew a guy who he sold some product. I don't remember what he sold, but he was completely dependent on the Google algorithm that when people searched for something in his area, Google would show him first. The algorithm changed one day and it knocked him down several spots, and his business stopped. All of a sudden, he couldn't get any sales, and he was worried. People build businesses on YouTube. YouTube bans you because you don't have the right politics. You lose your money, you're excised from society. Imagine what the metaverse is going to be like. What's that? You've broken one of the rules because you said a naughty word. Mark Zuckerberg removes you completely from the metaverse, and now you can't make money at all.
Or you'll say...
Not even that. Your brain chip. Wrong thing. He's committing a crime of thinking something against the establishment. Take him down. Take him out.
He's thinking about doing something unsavory. We're going to move his kiosk to a further location away from Central Land. And then you're like, oh, what have I done? And you're waiting for like 24 hours for your ticker to go down so you can get moved back to your regular spot.
No, you'll be banned.
But then you think another thing and you get banned for 7 days. You can't even function.
You'll be in the digital
they
gulag.
They want you in there still. They don't want you to leave. So they're going to like punish you but try and keep you in.
You're going to be in the digital ghetto for just thinking a wrong thought.
For feeling.
You know what they'll do? You know what they'll do? We talked about, I talked about this. We were doing brainstorming sessions on how to deal with like people who post awful trash on the internet that's legal. But, you know, because obviously if someone's posting illegal imagery or illegal content threats and stuff, you ban them. But if someone's posting stuff that's like obscene, we were like, you create an underbelly. If they violate the rules so many times, they just get sent to an area where people can post whatever they want, right? Because like we're not going to ban you.
Yeah.
Like Australia. We're not going to ban
Britain's
you.
Australia.
We
I
want
love
you to
you,
be able to use
Australia.
the service and communicate with people, but you clearly, want to post things that people don't want to see. Like I think in the metaverse, if you break the rules enough, they'll just send you to the
Another dimension.
a prison server.
They'll change the dimension to a prison version of the world.
And you'll be in a server with a really low income. No one in there can buy your product. Like they're all poor people who can barely afford your product, and you will just all of a sudden be poor in the metaverse.
And you will be happy.
Chris,
You will be happy poor
what's
there.
your VR representation? What are you going to go as what
Nothing. I'm so analog. I was born in rural Kentucky. I
But
grew
you
up in
have
the 80s.
to.
I don't
Mark
understand
Zuckerberg
this.
comes
I don't
here.
like it.
Mark
I'm not plugging in.
Mark Zuckerberg comes here with a VR headset and a firearm saying, listen, you got to pick an alternate reality and a different personality right now. Put on the headset. What are you? You could be a carrot. You could be a potato.
Okay,
You could be
all right.
whatever you want.
Gun to my head. I'm going to go with my spirit animal, the beaver.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll be a beaver.
What about
What
you, Tim?
actually happens is Mark Zuckerberg walks in and he's like, you guys have to put on these headsets. And if you don't, I've got a gun. And everyone put them on now. And then we're like, all right, Mark, calm down. We all put them on.
Hey, Mark.
And then Mark pulls out his laptop and he's like, you actually don't get to choose in the metaverse. I'm going to turn Luke into a giant rabbit and I'm going to make Ian the carrot. And then you guys are like, no, what's happening to us? And then Luke looks at his hands and he's like, I'm a rabbit now. And Mark is just in control. My character would probably just be like a wireframe guy. Like
that's cool.
whenever.
But hey, the furries, they're going to be the first ones on this.
There you go.
I'm pretty sure
They're in there right
you go in there. It's like people who have identity issues are like going in there and they're doing this. It's for these reasons.
I'll bet.
There could be a conspiracy,
But you
even
gotta
surrounding
understand,
that.
when we get to the point where you're Neuralink chipped in, think about how crazy this could be. You get the Neuralink installed, and now Metaverse is actually you in a digital world where you can touch and feel and sense things, and they can inflict pain on you. They can be like, oh, you're being punished. Press a button and you go, it hurts. Like they can actually hit your brain. They can make pain friction, right? So it's a very low grade pain. If you start walking towards a boundary, it slowly starts hurting and you're like, oh, and you stop and back off. They can do screwed up stuff to you once they get inside your brain, man.
Yep. Linda, what's
Yes.
your character?
My character
In
is
the
going
metaverse.
to be myself or Mark Zuckerberg. That's my plan.
You're
That's
gonna
who
be
I
Mark
want to go
Zuckerberg?
at. Yeah.
You can't be me.
Sure I
I'm me.
can. Me or you? How do you know, Mark? How do you know you're you? Oh my gosh, philosophical questions. That's what I would do. I don't know. I really do
One day
not
there's a
wanna go into
virus
it.
and like everyone turns into Trump. And they're
Oh my
running
gosh,
around going
yes.
like, oh no.
I'm orange. Help.
What am I?
Help
Like
me.
all of the Trump supporters would be laughing and high-fiving each other, and all the left would be like, ah!
It'd be malfunctioning.
And then Mark would be like, today there was a problem where everyone turned into Trump, and we're really sorry. We're working to get it fixed, but just hang tight. and be Trump for a few hours, and we'll get it sorted. You can't log out. You're in the pod. People are banging on the
Banging
pod
on the
screen.
pod.
Awesome.
feels like. They can't. We
Okay, I'm in. I like it. I like it now.
Good, yeah, I like it like that.
I believe that we really shouldn't have anyone in control of this thing, kind of like a network, like a phone network or roads. Like no one owns the roads in the United States. It's just kind of a system that everyone uses that we're
There's a
aware
bunch of
of where
private
the
roads.
roads go. There are some private roads.
There's
yeah.
international Spanish companies that literally are putting tolls on American roads.
But there should
because
be
of
a-
politicians selling the roads.
That's messed up. But there should be a freeway of metaverse, I think, that everyone can kind of use at will. Our taxes keep it up, keep it going, keep it transparent.
No,
Because
absolutely
I think functionally,
not.
There's a
Ian,
lot of
no.
value to augmented reality. The speed that you can navigate through information is valuable. You know, adaptability is part of what keeps us alive.
They're gonna have metaverse prison. Like there's this movie I watched, I forgot what it's called, where they invent this nanotechnology that they put in your eye, and then it creates memories in your mind. And so what they do is they want to make it so that if someone's got like a 5-year prison term, they just sit you down, put an eyedropper in your eye, and then it implants 5 years of prison into your brain. And so you're like in your mind in prison, and there's no people, and it's like solitary basically.
That was the Black Mirror episode.
Was it a Black Mirror episode?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah, I remember
thought
this
this was
lady
a
was like
movie.
in this little tiny white box, and it feels like a million years she's being punished.
Maybe.
Or they're in,
Yeah.
it's like a.
Was that Black Mirror?
Yeah, gotta watch it again.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to watch live, you can check out this channel Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Now, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and if you want more unfiltered and uncensored content with all of these guests, go to timcast.com and become a member. All of these guests you know and love in exclusive segments on our website where we are unrestricted in what we talk about, so you'll definitely not want to miss it. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all next time.